Hope you're all doing well out there. Welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. Repeating myself. It's good to see y'all. Okie doke. So, got a fun one tonight because we know we like our tall Jesuses around here. And we got a 200-footer tonight. And I don't know if our resident Jesus is in the house or not, but shout out to him if he returns or if he pops in at some point. So let's get this show on the road. Just really quickly, aside from the Jesus experience, I mean, Jesus stonewalls him, doesn't even talk to him, then trolls him. Much is trolling him by not talking to him too. And then there's also a really revealing moment where Nick, who's the person having the OBE, applies his intention inside the tunnel. So we've seen examples like that in the past. So further putting it out there that, hey, you end up in that tunnel, you know, you could still do your thing, you know, make sure that you hold your ground. Now remember, as far as, you know, we're all concerned, we're not going to no tunnel. It's simply not allowed. Remember, not allowed. No, it's just simply not in our world, my world. So always try to have that mindset, you know. But if for some weird reason you do end up in the tunnel, realize that you can assert your intention quickly, effectively, and get yourself out of that situation if it occurs. You know, when you get to the light, I don't know. I think it's if you end up in the light, that's a whole nother thing completely. So okie doke. Let's roll.
Okay, well, I guess the most prominent one would be the one that was on Enderf. Basically what happened was that pretty much leading up to 2003, I was basically an agnostic / atheist. You know, I really just placed no credence in anything beyond what I could see and feel, you know, anything I could experience with the five senses. And so I went to sleep that one night, and next thing I know, I realized that I had just awakened, as it were, and it was completely black. You know, it felt like just sitting here now, but it was just, you know, it turned out that I was in the void, and it was absolutely completely impenetrably dark. But and so I tried to strain, I tried to look, and I couldn't see anything in a direction, no matter what I did. But what I did realize is that I was also seeing infinitely in the process, and so there was, you know, it was just literally nothing there. And so after about a few minutes of that, I thought to myself, you know, it's like, I was like, gee, I must be dead. Oh, well, you know, I was actually quite cavalier about it. And it was almost like it was an afterthought. You know, I was completely disconnected from anything that had happened on Earth. And so after another minute.
Okay, so I was completely disconnected from anything on Earth, happening on Earth.
A minute or two of staring around, I was like, where's God in all this? And then right after I said that.
Okay, so where's God in all this? Well, what do you know? Boom. Initiate experience.
So after another minute or two of staring around, I was like, where's God in all this? And then right after I said that, this bright pinprick of light just suddenly appeared off my right side, as it were, associated with some sort of a far-off thunderclap, although it wasn't really thunder. And it just would just disappear and reappear, maybe once every 3 seconds or so. And every time it reappeared, it got fairly closer. So it pulsed about 2 or 3 times, and at that point, I was like, "Uh-oh, you know, I better watch out here because I don't know what's in the light." I mean, I had an idea, but so then
So isn't that interesting? He says, "I better watch out." Doesn't know, you know. I mean, he has an idea, but remember, he asked, "Where's God at?" And the perception of God is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Like, uh-oh, you know, I better watch out here because I don't know what's in the light. I mean, I had an idea, but so then I figured to myself, well, let me concentrate on this. And I figured God's at the end of this tunnel. I knew that's what it was. So let me concentrate on him. And I thought to myself, boy, I better not think of anything bad. And it's like, then I thought to myself, no, that's silly. He already knows everything anyway.
You say God was at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I knew that the light was the tunnel and that I was going to be going through it. So, and sure enough, at the last pulse, the light came to me and engulfed me. And then
came to me and engulfed me. So, I mean, he's put out his permission right away. Where's God in all this? And boom, roll the experience.
Was at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I knew that the light was the tunnel and that I was going to be going through it. So, and sure enough, at the last pulse, the light came to me and engulfed me. And then I started flying through the tunnel. And the way the tunnel looked is that it looked like the interior of a pitch black tornado with the walls twisting around themselves endlessly. But it was so streaked with blue rays of light on the side, which I could actually hear as I was passing by them. And I was going at an incredible rate of speed.
What did it sound like?
It sounded like almost like something is, I don't want to say the Doppler effect of a car passing by, but you hear all you heard was a whooshing sound. And as I looked, I saw the colors streaking by, but I could tell that the whooshing sounds were actually the colors. And so I was literally hearing the colors as I was passing by them. And so next thing I know, I see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, extremely bright. Dun, dun, dun. And for a minute, I was worried that I was actually going to bump into the walls of the tunnel. But then I realized, because when they were swirling in and outward, they came relatively close to me. But no, nothing ever happened like that. I really was in no danger of touching the walls one way or the other. So, but while I was there, I also said to myself, I wonder if I can make this thing go faster. So I said, faster, come on. And I actually started going faster. Then I figured, let me try to slow it down. And as I said slower, it actually happened. Then I was like, all right, let me just get through this. So I just said, let's speed this thing up as fast as possible.
Typical guy.
Yeah, I didn't want to linger around there any longer than I absolutely had to. So I make it to the top, and I had this strange feeling come over me that told me that basically I had arrived. And I found myself in front of an opening of a portal. I was still in the darkness, but not the tunnel. It was just beyond the tunnel. And beyond the portal, I could see swirling.
So I didn't pause it at the moment because I kind of wanted this to go through, but you saw earlier that he is able to slow down the tunnel. He's able to, sorry, I missed that, guys. He's able to slow and speed it up with his intention, showing that he can have some control here by using his creator being abilities. And remember, that's what we have. We all have the same thing. So, these things cannot hurt you. They can't mess with you. You can change a situation at the drop of a hat, but you have to be firm in your resolve, firm in your intention, unrelenting. Stand your ground, do what you need to do that's best for you. That's the key thing. And make sure that you mean it. You mean it. Don't half-ass it. Because it does seem, it does seem that, you really got to put yourself into it, because that's exactly what you want. You want out of that tunnel, boom. That's what you're going to get.
Darkness, but not the tunnel. It was just beyond the tunnel. And beyond the portal, I could see swirling white clouds around a blue background and a massive ball of indescribable brightness at the center.
What the portal look like?
The portal itself looked like just a demarcation point. It looked like I was actually, after I left the tunnel, it was actually like a just more blackness. But then it was almost like it was almost like a circle that was cut out. I mean, this is huge. This is like a mile in diameter at least. The portal, and it was just it was the darkness in the portal, and then the light, the clouds, and the sky beyond it. And when I actually realized that at that point, I was actually more aware of myself than when I was in the void. And I realized that I was actually only a puffball of energy at this point. I had literally no form. And it was amazing to just be, as it were. But I also decided to take a look around. And so even though I had 360-degree vision at the time, I decided to focus on the tunnel, or the mouth of the tunnel, and it turned out that it was actually darker and blacker than the blackness that I was even in beyond it, and I could actually see it swirling at the top. So I guess at that point, well, that's when I decided, all right, I was looking at God, and I was like, man, he's incredible. It was like all the brightness in the universe put together times infinity. Like by comparison, staring at the sun for more than a split second is incredibly painful.
So, all these NDEers, I mean, this is an out-of-body experience, but it is pretty much like an NDE. You can compare it even to things like the breakthrough trip reports, where people have DMT, ayahuasca. People even experience the tunnel, the light, and a life review sometimes in just really enhanced meditation practice. So it can occur in different things. So it's not necessarily always going to be condensed to near-death experiences that these things can occur. And all of them, they always get this feeling that, the light is God. That's the Grand Pumbaa. And I'm here saying, no, it's not God. It's a deception and something you should be wary of, just in case. Again, even if you don't believe what's shared here and the whole soul trap thing, it can't hurt to just go your own way initially and just see how things unravel, and don't jump the gun, so to say, with interacting with entities or going to places that are pre-made constructs that you know nothing about, I know nothing about. We just know that they're linked to the system. They're apparently pawning this light off as God itself. And then you have all these entities in between. You got the Jesus, the Buddhas, the Mohammeds, the grandma and grandpa and the deceased pets, you name it, whatever the situation is. So just, even if you don't buy into the whole soul trap thing, it can't hurt to work with sovereignty as your kind of beacon when you leave here, just to play it safe.
Here, I didn't want to stop looking at him. He is so extremely easy on the eyes. But so what happened was that I decided, well, I want to be with him. So I figured, well, I want to merge and just let that be the end of it,
So see, he already wants to merge. He has thoughts that his plan is to merge
him. So I figured, well, I want to merge and just let that be the end of it. No more earth, no more worries, no more nothing.
Isn't that funny how you say easy on the eyes? Knowing we have no eyes. It's like we still have the feeling everything's still there, even though we know physically not. And that's strange. I'm sorry. I just had to.
No. It makes sense. It didn't even occur to me actually until now. Right. Because I had 360-degree vision. I could see everything all at once. So, I talked about it in human terms. I didn't even think about it. But so what happened was that, unlike in the void where I couldn't move, and even if I could, there was really nowhere to go, here I found I could move just with an effort of will. So what I tried doing was I tried zooming through the portal into the sky itself. And every time I tried, I think I tried about 3 times initially. And every time I tried, they kept getting stopped by like a barrier. It was like almost like a marshmallow barrier. I would just be gently but firmly stopped. And so after that,
gently but firmly stopped. Entrance denied. Turn back around. But gotta see Jesus first.
And every time I tried, they kept getting stopped by like a barrier. It was like almost like a marshmallow barrier. I would just be gently but firmly stopped. And so after that, I backed off for like a little while. And this next thing I know, again on my right side, this radiant blue figure suddenly came to within my middle of the field of vision, blocking God's light.
What color?
And it turns out blue radiance. Yes.
Blue?
Yes, like a deep blue radiance.
Okay.
And he was Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, yeah, no, he was over 100 feet tall, at least. I would say even more like 200.
There it is. It's got to be at least 100 feet. Oh, wait, 200. How many different sizes of Jesus have we seen? They're always giants, though. Always towering over. And what? Yeah, that's intimidating. That's intimidating. Sorry, it's an intimidation tactic. No doubt.
So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, yeah, no, he was over 100 feet tall, at least. I would say even more like 200. He was over 100 feet tall, at least. I would say even more like 200.
All right, that's enough.
And he blocked my vision of God. Now, it was unmistakably Christ. You know, no features, just a deep blue radiance with a silhouette.
No features, just a blue silhouette. No features. Remember, I just know it's Christ. I know it's Jesus. How many times we've heard that, too? Where people I just knew it was Jesus. I just knew. That's the frequency that is emitted that connects with the whole Jesus thing.
Christ. You know, no features, just a deep blue radiance with a silhouette. And I thought to myself, boy, you know, I really just want to see God. I mean, he was beautiful, but nothing compared to the light behind him. So I was like, do you think you could just move over a little bit? And I didn't, obviously say it. I thought it. And so he did. He actually moved over for a little bit just to give me a glimpse and then moved back in front again. And so for whatever reason, yeah. And
so see, he's even trolling him. Oh, you want to come in? Oh, you want to come in? No, just totally trolling him. What the fuck?
And I didn't, obviously say it. I thought it. And so he did. He actually moved over for a little bit just to give me a glimpse and then moved back in front again.
Want to come in? No.
And so for whatever reason, yeah. And
Trolling
I'm
Jesus.
thinking to myself, why doesn't he say anything to me? How come nobody says anything to me? They're both there. Neither one of them is addressing me in any way, shape, or form. Granted, I wasn't exactly doing that either. It was just more out of curiosity and then just wonder of the whole thing. And so
yeah, I'm wondering too.
I tried 3 more times to get through him. I tried to zoom directly through him to get through the portal. And the same thing, I was stopped every single time by a marshmallow barrier. And so see if there's anything.
Those marshmallow barrel.
So yeah, basically what happened was that after that, after I tried 3 more times to go past him, I backed off. And then I just looked at him like, well, are you going to say anything to me or not?
Yeah, come on, Jesus. What's going on?
Of course. He just kind of stared at me. And then at that point, I was like, well, all right, what, now what? And next thing I know, I found myself actually starting to back away. They were basically pushing me back.
So he says, now what? And he starts getting pushed away.
Now what? And next thing I know, I found myself actually starting to back away. They were basically pushing me back towards the tunnel. And I tried everything I could to stay, but no amount of force of will on my part was going to stop that from happening.
Yeah, so, immediately taking away his power, giving it up to something else. What am I can't argue with Jesus and God here. Come on now. Just totally gives it all up.
No amount of force of will on my part was going to stop that from happening. So next thing I know, I find myself rocketing back down the tunnel again, and I see the light, just fading. It's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I'm thinking to myself, oh man, this is not how I wanted this to go. I think I just totally blew my opportunity. And the next thing I know, I get dumped into a normal earthly dream at the bottom of it, in which I couldn't tell you the first thing about now, but but going to him, absolutely. It was really surreal. So
isn't it funny how we keep our personality when we go to the other side?
And that was the thing I found. Nothing in me changed. I was still me in every way possible. You know, I had an expanded awareness and, you know, with the vision and my senses and everything else, but at the core, I was still me.
Okay. So at the core, it's still him. That's important. You know, even though, yes, we see NDEs that contain the memory wipe, you know, once you're outside the body, boom, go right to that intention. Don't hold back. Just immediate. You know, the whole checklist that we've talked about before. Thank you so much, Acta Non-Verba. Says, appreciate you helping to shed light on this whole subject for all of us. You're very welcome, my friend. Thank you so much.
Every way possible. You know, I had an expanded awareness and, you know, with the vision and my senses and everything else, but at the core, I was still me. There's no magical transformation that takes place. You know, you don't suddenly become a great guy or girl or whoever, you know. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could remember about that. And
we're not our church version of ourselves.
No. I don't think anybody really ever is. You know, basically, what you see is what you get. What you are down here is exactly what you take with you when you go back there, and I know that to be true. That's why I'm very, very careful about trying to be a good person.
So see, he's, you know, obviously we be good people because we want to be. All right, it's the right thing to do. But after having the experience, now he's like, you know, staying on top of things, being a little more careful, maybe. Which, you know, hey, all the power to him. But, you know, he knows that he's going to have to answer to something when the life review comes along down the road, when he really passes. So so he's afraid of judgment. He's afraid of the sins, karma. And that's exactly how the system works. It loops us back in with that perceived judgment, sinning karma that, you know, we have to answer to, atone for. And, oh, oops, sorry. You know, you were this close this recent incarnation, but I'm sorry, you're gonna have to do it again. I'm sorry. That's how the system works. Memory wipe and our own involvement with buying into having to answer to something exterior to ourselves that we have no clue about, know nothing about it. But, you know, they come in boom, 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 right when we're passing to try and suck us right back into the light. Life review, rinse, repeat, go through the whole life, the soul school classes, pick out a new life with the help of some parasitic entities that are chirping in our ear, trying to get us to do this. Well, remember, you know, you punched someone in your last lifetime. So, you know, you're going to be toned down a notch in this one. You know, your life's going to be a little shittier. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Again, you could be, you know, the walking epitome of the best person that's ever graced this earth, and they will still find something that you did. Think about what they do to children. Sometimes in the NDs that children have, they guilt trip children. And us as adults, if you go to the life review. Oh, well, remember you were 6 years old and you did this? You know, you whatever. You know, you took the tire out of your friend's bike, took the air out of the tire of your friend's bike. Oh my God. That, I guess I have to learn my lessons and come back again, right? That's the only option. It's the only option. See how ridiculous this system is? It's absurd. It's time for us to stand up for ourselves and just be careful. Just be careful.
Not our church version of ourselves.
No. I don't think anybody really ever is. You know, basically, what you see is what you get. What you are down here is exactly what you take with you when you go back there, and I know that to be true. That's why I'm very, very careful about trying to be a good person. But yeah, the one thing I did notice was I actually felt my oneness with him. And it really doesn't get any more personal than that, considering he was, right there with me. And I also realized that I am is actually the very phrase that sums up all existence.
Yes.
And the other thing I felt was,
how did you come to that, noticing that?
It was just it was transferred to me. It wasn't really like infinite knowledge or anything being transferred to me in any way, just more like a feeling that, yes, we are all one. And it was, you just felt everybody and everything interconnected. And it also was accompanied, even when I was in the void, when I first woke up there, it was an overwhelming peace that I really can't describe. I'm sure you felt it during yours, and I really would love to get back to that again, because, I'm normally like an anxious person. So
we'd like to get back to that. Come on, Nick. Stand up for yourself, brother. Like you did in the tunnel. You can do it.
I'm sure you felt it during yours, and I really would love to get back to that again, because, I'm normally like an anxious person. So
I know what you mean.
But I did find that when I got back, I actually had an effect on electrical equipment. So lights would flicker.
I'm sorry. I think I got you off track by my question. Where you were, and you were trying not to go back in. Was that the end of it?
Well, for that particular experience, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That was it.
Okay. Yeah, when I was in the tunnel with my second NDE, I noticed later that everything I kept saying to myself was, I am, I am, I am. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Like my whole conversation started with, I am this, I am that, I'm leaving my children. I am so sorry, my children, I am, all those things. It's just like, wow, I said, I am every sentence.
5 seconds. Right.
Yeah. And my tunnel was a lot like what you're describing. I didn't see colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was just a black tunnel then?
It was dim, and it was like shot like a rocket, real fast speed. But I didn't control the slow down. I was like, can I run away? Because I don't want to go where this is taking me. It's too far away from my kids. Can I? And I thought, oh, wow. Because every time I hear like a clunk, clunk, I thought, I'm way too far out now. There's no way I'm going to get back. It was like I was way out after galaxy and galaxy. And
right. I hear it.
God's way of letting me know, you're gone. You're not going back. Because when I was up there, I was told it was, was my time. So
wasn't my time. That's how they all come back. You've got a mission to fulfill. It's not your time yet. You've got to go back. You've got to go back and save the world. That's what they do. The mission, the purpose, the life script that was chosen, you've got to finish your work. You cannot be in the embrace of God's kingdom until you finish suffering back on earth.
You're not going back. Because when I was up there, I was told it was, was my time. So not like a lot of people, but anyway, I don't want to talk about me.
Her words, you're not going back. I mean, you gotta, I'm sorry. Did I mix that up? Hold on.
I hear it.
Sorry.
God's way of letting me know, you're gone. You're not going back. Because when I was up there, I was told it was, was my time. So not like a lot of people, but anyway, I don't want to talk about me.
You're not going back.
Go ahead. So what else? So you had more of these? That was just the first, or?
Yeah, well, it wasn't the first. It just happened to be the most profound.
Okay.
And so, I've had other ones. I had one where I talked to you about it last night, where I went to sleep and I felt myself rising out of myself, like astral travel. I've done that a number of times before, so I knew exactly what was happening. And for some reason, instead of trying to leave and go somewhere else, I decided to turn back around, and I looked at myself in the bed. My eyes were closed. I was up on, I was actually down on the pillows. And then I looked over at my wife and I saw her reading a book. And so then I heard my guide B starting to talk to me.
Uh-oh. Guide. Here are the guides.
So then I heard my guide B starting to talk to me. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember half of what we even talked about. What I do remember, though, is that earlier in that day, I had to get rid of some plants that I had, like herbs and whatnot, rosemary, thyme, sage. And it was just the end of the season. And I tried to bring the plants in. Didn't really work because they had bugs all over them. So I decided, let me just throw them out. And I felt so bad doing that. I actually asked God to let me escort the plants back to the spirit world. So that's why she was there, was to answer that. And I asked, hey, did God hear me? And she said, oh, yes, he heard you. It's just not going to happen tonight. And then she explained a couple other things to me. And so I asked her I remember I asked her a couple other questions.
It's just not going to happen tonight. Like, it's not going to happen overnight, Nick.
Yeah, right. And so then I noticed that, like I said, I was staring at my body. And when I was asking the questions, my physical mouth was moving and murmuring them, even though I was telepathically speaking to her. And so then I heard my wife sit there and say, hey, are you all right? And I murmured, yes, I'm fine. And then she said, oh, okay. And so then I just went back talking to B, and there's a reason I call her B. I'll tell you that one in a minute. And so what happened was that I talked to her, and then the next morning when I woke up, I thought I had just dreamed it. It was like a crazy dream that I had. So I asked her, I said, hey, was I talking in my sleep last night? She said, yeah, you were having quite the conversation with somebody. I asked if you were doing all right, and you said you were, so I just let you have at it. And so that was that occurrence. And then that was back in 2019. That was December of 2019 that happened. And
no, you said they started in what did you say? 03?
03. Yeah, that was the original one the first one that I mentioned to you.
Now, have you been checked for like sleep apnea or anything to find out?
Yeah, I have been. I did a couple sleep studies, as a matter of fact, and they found that there was no apnea, nothing like that. I mean, I do have a reduced oxygen to my lungs because I actually have bronchiectasis. So I get about 90% of the oxygen I'm supposed to. But that wasn't really a cause of it. Oh, yeah. And so the other occurrence where I actually met her for the first time was, again, another dream sequence. And I found myself talking to my wife and in the dream, and she wanted to go to sleep for some reason. So she, my dream self of her just lied down, went to bed, and next thing I know, I see, like, I turned and I see this not a barrier, but it was almost like, I don't want to say a dream barrier, but what happened was that I had to tell myself, okay, I have to get into a more Zen mode if I want to see what's going on here. So basically what it was.
I think there's definitely something to that, because that's where I made my biggest strides here. Despite traversing Zen Buddhism, it paid off, and for as much as it did kind of mislead me in certain areas, it absolutely paid off to enhance meditations and be more connected. And this reality reveals itself in a way too, through the deep meditative practices you can learn day to day. And it really does expose this place for what it is. Now, you may, in the beginning, get all out of whack from it, and can really screw you up, depending on where you are at in your life at that moment. But it was an essential part of my journey to connect with that. And granted, I moved on from it, but getting in that state is extremely helpful to helping get out of body and, again, have this reality revealed to reveal itself to you in some ways that are far from the norm of the day-to-day life.
Was that there was the bedroom area where Gladys was, and then beyond that there was an atrium with a spiral staircase on it. So I went to the spiral staircase, and I saw these little golden notes on each step. So I started picking them up, and they were shining and everything else, and they had their own light. And every time I opened one said, "You're doing a great job." The second one said, "Keep it up." And so then I woke up just on my own, decided to get back to sleep. When I did, I found myself right in the spiral staircase area again. So no matter what, she was, she intended for us to meet. So this time I saw a ball of light at the bottom of the staircase, and she said, "Hey, follow me to the top." So when I got to the top, I found myself in a forest setting with two logs, one on each side of a clearing. She was already seated on one, and I took the seat on the other. Now she looked like something literally out of a Pinterest fairy picture. Her outfit was nothing but green leaves that were interwoven, along with a set of wings, 4 wings in her back, and a magic wand with a glowing star on the top. Now, clearly that was just, for my comfort and benefit. So
you know what's ironic right now?
What's that?
Look over your shoulder. Can you see in the screen? See a green leaf on your shoulder? Over on the other side.
Oh, yeah, right there.
It's been over top of your shoulder the whole time. Like this is a little wing sprout.
So I sat there and I said, "I don't think I've seen you before. You're not the guy that messed me the last time." And she said, "Well, no." She said, "No, I've come to your case now." And I said, "Well, have I crossed some sort of developmental threshold or something?" She said, "Yes, you have actually." She says, "That's why I'm here now."
Well, how about that, right? Have I reached some developmental threshold? Tell me. And well, they deliver. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And you'll hear some interesting information that he brings up in addition to this that shows some of the knowledge that he had about Michael Newton's work. And we'll let him finish that. But, whew.
She said, "No, I've come to your case now." And I said, "Well, have I crossed some sort of developmental threshold or something?" She said, "Yes, you have actually." She says, "That's why I'm here now." And I said, "Okay, so what's your name?" Then she pointed down and near my feet. I looked down and I saw this area of white blankness with the letters Bezerel, like just arranging themselves into her name. And it was like a 20-letter long name. But the first few letters, or the first 10 letters, were B, so I just call her B for short.
So ever since then, she's continued to appear in your OBEs?
The first one, she appeared in the body, as it were. And then the second one was when she was just speaking telepathically to me, and I didn't actually see her, when I was actually outside of myself staring back at my body. And so what happened was that I said, well, first I asked her if I could give her a hug. She, obliged. And then I said, "So what am I doing here exactly?" She says, "Well, I brought you here to meet me. And also, what was it? Oh, I brought you here to meet me. And I know that you've wanted to see your spiritual home." So I said, "Okay."
Would you say God, your spiritual hope?
No. She said, I know you wanted to see your spiritual home. And so, I didn't exactly get a tour. What happened was...
All right, so we know that you want to see your spiritual home. So come along. Come with me.
I said, "Okay."
Would you say God, your spiritual hope?
No. She said, I know you wanted to see your spiritual home. And so, I didn't exactly get a tour. What happened was that next thing I know, I find myself in this building walking with this guy that I had no idea who he was. And he was just telling me, I came down to Earth 20 years before you did, and I'm glad I did because I can get back here sooner. And so he was already on an incarnation. That was just his higher self in the spirit world.
I'm sorry, what did he say?
Oh, he said, I'm glad that I came down 20 years before you did because I was able to get back quicker. In other words, he's still on an incarnation, but that was his higher self that was actually talking to me. And so then I said, well, where's my little corner of the spirit world?
Yeah, where's my little corner? Remember, even if you're asking this question, it's a question how it links to the matrix, not your original existence. It's part of the fabricated matrix. That's what home, quote unquote, is interpreted as because it's familiar. It seems to be your true home, when in fact, it's not. It's your home from the moment you entered the matrix. It's a false home, a false sense of security.
And so then I said, well, where's my little corner of the spirit world? And so then next thing I know, I'm taking this beautiful mansion, you know, a river's running through it.
And it's a mansion.
It's all sparkly and light in this winterscape. And it is the most beautiful place. Although at that time, I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to really go inside or anything. I just was curious. And so I, at that point, I said, you know what? My mom died about 10 years ago. So I said, I want to see my mom. And next thing I know, I'm in this dark, I just suddenly, everything shifted. I'm in this dark area, almost like the void, except I feel like a light switch has been placed over my shoulder. And just as I was about to grab it to turn on the light, boom. I woke up.
Get out of here.
And so that was the end of that one.
I find that one interesting. I'm surprised they didn't give him the token mom experience, but you know, he feels something over his shoulder and then boom, right back. I found that one really interesting, just for fun. You know, it's because normally you'd expect them to provide that experience. Maybe his desire to have it on demand was a little too taxing for the matrix system. So like, okay, we can't roll out mom now. Keep her at bay. Hold her back. You know, release the mom. What the fuck? All right. So yeah, we're almost at an hour. I got to take a little break here. Sorry, the dogs are calling me. So we'll be right back with the second segment here. Hang in there, my friends, and thank you for your patience and for joining me tonight. Always good to see y'all. Thank you. Thank you for your patience with the extra added break. We're going to jump right back into it.
And so that was the end of that one. And as far as the one before it, where I had my other guide, what was it? Oh, I was in, again, I went to sleep and I woke up and I not really woke up. I was in a lucid dream. I realized I was dreaming. And so I said, I invite my guides to join me in my dream. And this is about 5 years ago. And so next thing I know, the dream subtly shifts to where I realized that I was no longer in control of it.
So key word, right? I invited my guides. Invited. Well, you give an open invitation, you're going to lose control. And that's exactly what happens.
And so next thing I know, I invite my guides to join me in my dream. And this is about 5 years ago. And so next thing I know, the dream subtly shifts to where I realized that I was no longer in control of it. And so I see a hallway suddenly appear. I go into it, and there's this one guy here cutting wood on a circular saw. I walk up to him.
How weird is that?
Then he points to the remainder of the hallway. So I go there, and there's nothing but an infinite hallway of doors.
Next stop, Willoughby.
Fortunately, the one I needed was only right across the way. So I walk in there, and it's a classroom
convenient.
setting, and I see people.
I mean, seriously, think about it. It's like an infinite corridor with doors, hallway. And he just so happens to pick the door that he needs.
So I walk in there, and it's a classroom setting. And I see people that I've gone to college with, that I grew up with, some I didn't know, others that I was friends with in middle school. And they were all connected to me in some way, shape, or form. And I'm certain that the ones I didn't know, I probably met at some point, but just don't remember them. So the teacher or the professor was actually my guide. And she looked kind of like actually one of my high school teachers. But she said, she never had me sit down or anything. She just said, okay, now that you're here, you can ask questions. And
you can do
so,
what?
Oh, now that you're here, you can ask your questions. Yeah. And she says, I know you have a lot of them, but we don't have much time because I know you're going to wake up in the next 20 minutes or so. So I said, okay. So I had been reading Dr. Michael Newton's Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls prior to that. So I said, well, what's my soul color? And she said, and she started playing around with it like, well, soul color doesn't really matter. And I actually felt like that like, even if I was a rank beginner soul, that I was still valued and appreciated and everything else. So I understood where she was coming from. But then she said to the class, she said, do you think we should tell them? And they were like, And then I was like, oh, please, tell me. And they were like, okay. She said, you're light blue in color. So, and according to Dr. Newton's books, that's the note of an advanced soul.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. So he enters a classroom. This seems like one of the soul schools we've talked about before. And this, for those who don't know, the books he's talking about, Journey of Souls, Destiny of Souls. I did a cover-to-cover commentary. If you're new to the channel, I think diving into those is a really important step because it shows past life regressions, moments of life between lives, and we go over the soul schools. There is somewhat of a block with the soul schools. We don't really get much as to what's going on there. And I have put forward that to me, it seems like just like a further indoctrination camp. It makes sense that his guide is the teacher, because that's how it normally works in the structure. So we do have crossover here between the regressions and this out-of-body experience. He enters a classroom setting. The teacher is his guide. Everyone around him is familiar to him. Well, that everything fits. Everyone is familiar with him because they're contained within that same soul group. You know, and even the ones that he doesn't necessarily recognize feels like he knew them or did know them. But those are the ones that didn't make it into this current incarnation that Nick is experiencing. So that's a huge moment right there, because it confirms other things learned in different topics that cross over and form into the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap evidence pool. So really, really, really important moment. Extremely revealing, and you know, checks the boxes for further evidence.
Blue in color. So, and according to Dr. Newton's books, that's the note of an advanced soul. And I have had other interesting experiences that seem to confirm that. So, so what happened was that I asked a couple other questions, and she said, "There's no more time for any other questions, but I will do this for you." The next thing I know, I feel this feeling welling up inside me, and all I felt was perfect love and acceptance and peace. It was unbelievable. And she said, "Keep that with you as long as you can when you wake up." I was only able to keep it for about a half an hour. I woke up like about 10 seconds after that. And so I kept it for about 30, 45 minutes. After that, it faded. And well, then I just went out the rest of my day. But I could never get that feeling back. And that's what told me that it was real. So, I'm sorry.
And, you know, also the whole color of the soul, you know, like, oh, you're an advanced soul. You're advanced. That just, you know, in my opinion, means you've been put through the ringer here longer than most, or at least fall into that category. But all this stuff is to stroke the ego. Let's really call it what it is. It's to keep the charade up. The color in relation to your existence here is part of the pyramid scheme, okay? You know, you start off at whatever, I don't remember how they all work out, but if you go back, you can check out the playlist of the cover-to-cover commentary. There's one for each book. Start with Journey of Souls, then Destiny of Souls. And it goes over everything. And all it is a pyramid scheme to keep you thinking that, oh, I'm progressing in the Matrix. I'm doing it for my spiritual evolution. That's why I'm here. Now it's making sense. And then what they might do is, you know, they throw you a few token experiences, some really good lifetimes, some really wretched lifetimes, you know, give you this perception that, oh, you know, you need to work on this, and that, and, you know, in order to progress. And then they give you the token bump and the color, and on and on and on. It is one of the biggest, oh my God, when you really think about how in-depth this system is, it is impressive. It is. Again, I tip my hat to this insanity because they've thought of everything, and they just are able to do small little silly things in an effort to win us over and keep us here. Really, it's nuts. Totally nuts. And the evidence is there. It's all there, crosses so many topics. So if you're new to the channel, new to the topic of the Soul Trap, just hang in there with me, my friends. Check out the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap playlist too. That's updated every single week. And it'll give you a rough breakdown of what's going on. Also check out Wayne Bush's website at trickedbythelight.com and Dan at overwatchproject.com and Dan at Overwatch channel on YouTube, Overwatch Project on Odyssey. Those are the two researchers I trust the most in this field. And, again, Wayne's website is a wealth of knowledge. Further your gnosis in the Soul Trap, and you'll start to see that, it's undeniable what's going on. It's so blatant. But it's time for us to take back control of us and throw all these illusions, the ego boosting to the side and say enough is enough.
And well, then I just went out the rest of my day, but I could never get that feeling back. And that's what told me that it was real. So, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And I forgot to mention that when I was the B in the other one, she had this look about her. She looked average insofar as looks were concerned. She was brunette, just an average brunette looking girl. But I could tell there was some sort of a spiritual lilt about her where it just made her look so amazing, regardless of her actual physical features, that all I could say was, wow, wow, wow. When I first saw her, I was totally captivated by her. So that's what told me that was real.
Did these OBEs change you from being atheist?
Yes. I'm not religious still. I actually eschew organized religion, because to me, each one of them just has a piece of the truth. And, they basically, let's face it, they're not going to get very many followers by telling everybody they're going to go to hell. So,
but they do,
and so I never believed in hell. Never. And that everything that I've experienced pretty much confirms it to me that it's basically it. We all go back to the spirit world after we die. There's no torture. There's no eternal punishment, because we're all pieces of God, and he's not going to do that to himself. So.
Oh, really? Really? I beg to differ, because there are hell realms. There's the underworld. Just look at, Greek mythology. I mean, it's all there. End of years, we see it, where people go to hell-like realms and are essentially scared shitless into submission. All right? So these realms do exist. All right, think about what's going on here. But everything is on the up and up in the astral, as it is related to this place? Come on. No, I mean, we're not trying to scare anyone, but let's just be honest. These realms do exist. Now, the chances of getting in them seem way lesser for most, if not, high 90 percentile, because, and I'm strictly going off NDEs, okay? NDEs, roughly about 10% are negative experiences. You can go on the high end and maybe say 15, but most of the researchers in the field kind of have come to the conclusion it's about 10%. So make of that what you will, but the realms do exist, okay? And this whole quote unquote, God is not going to do that and risk it all or play that game is completely wrong. Because we're dealing with the parasitical entity that runs this place. And if you want to call it God, fine, go for it. It's the entity that runs this show is linked in the astral. If that's not concerning, I don't know what is. What loving God is going to allow this whole mess to continue that we experience? Ask yourself that question. Be honest with yourself and say, what is represented in the astral doesn't necessarily align with what's actually going on here. Everything's love and light and rainbows and unicorns and pixie dust and blah, 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 blah. But then there's the reality of what's going on here. Day to day, epoch to epoch, it's the same crap going on as far back as we have records for. And that can't be disputed. Nobody can sit here and say, hey, FC, well, there's this, there were thousands of years of this amazing time period, and give actual references to it, solid references. The information doesn't exist. But what we do see, however, is suffering, and much suffering, I'm sorry, to the point of infuriating, okay? And yet, we're supposed to buy that this whole God entity that is supposed to be, in the form of the light, love and light, it gives you this love bomb, essentially drugs us with the love bomb. And we're supposed to just, hey, you are what you say you are. Come on. Let's just get real. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's all we got to do. Just say, hey, it doesn't line up. That's it.
There's no torture. There's no eternal punishment, because we're all pieces of God, and he's not going to do that to himself.
No, he wouldn't do that.
He'd be crazy to do that.
But he does.
Do you feel any kind of relationship with Jesus, God, since you feel you've met them, or does that mean anything to you?
It means a lot to me, actually. Not so much a more personalized. Yeah, I guess I am, because now I know what I am means. The infinite now, everything just being, period, and how everything just is. And that was one of the major feelings I had, was the fact that everything really just is. The infinite now, everything just being there at the moment, but not every event running into each other. We're all kind of just I guess just the infinite now. I guess that's the best way to say it.
For a period of time, I kept waking up with the song "Let It Be" in my head. Just let it be, speaking words of wisdom. I was like, there is a lot of wisdom in that, just to let something be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never had any music, unfortunately, but like I said, when I came back, I actually had an effect on electrical equipment. Lights would flicker on and off for no reason the minute I would enter a room. Twice when I came in to the living room, the TV just spontaneously turned on. And what else? My computer monitor would just blank out. No reason. It would just be on and it would just blank out. You turn it back on.
Do you have trouble with watches?
Never had any problem with watches because I simply don't wear one. Yeah, I've worn one in like 20 some odd years. But
okay, so yeah, it's very common for people that, well, I wouldn't say very common, but it's common enough that some people who do have a connection with the astral realm or are psychically attacked can experience something like electronics running haywire, going crazy, or even dying. And some people buy multiple TVs or modems, all this stuff. So just something to think about. We've heard NDEers talk about this. We've heard those that are kind of deep in the occult sometimes talk about this. Out-of-body experiencers, even some who come back from, the breakthrough trips. So this is something that happens. Not uncommon, not ridiculously common, but it's common enough. It's one of those data points to look out for.
Wear one. Yeah, I've worn one in like 20 some odd years. But
I can't keep a battery in one. It goes dead in no time. So
yeah. I just have so many clocks at home. There's really no point.
When you're not asleep, do you have any kind of meditation, prayer, any kind of practice that you use to try to connect to any of that space, or you just wait and see what happens when you dream?
A little of both. I actually meditate quite often. I actually always try to do the Hong Stop technique. And it's basically where you basically just, you sit quietly, and every time you breathe in and out, you always say Hong and Saw. Hong in the inhale, and Haw and Saw in the exhale. And basically it just means I am spirit, I am he. So I do that for about 20 minutes every day, usually twice a day if I can get away with it. And after that, I like to tell myself before I go to bed that I'm going to have a lucid dream, and try to convince myself that. Never does really work. But then I realized to myself, I'm an insomniac by nature. So if I say stuff like that to myself, my mind's just going to run all night and I'll never get to sleep. Unfortunately, it means I can't prep myself to have a lucid dream either. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. What would you
call a lucid dream versus an out-of-body experience for you?
Well, I found there's a couple different types of dreams. One is the standard one where you're just an observer, and, just a normal dream. Lucid dreams where you're in control of the environment, and you can pretty much, you're God there. You can pretty much do anything you want. And then the OBEs, like I said, when I asked my guys to join me, and when I said things suddenly shifted, number one, they changed the landscape. And number two, I got the distinct feeling that I was no longer in control. That even if I wanted to change something, I couldn't, because that would be detrimental to what they were trying to do for me, which was to meet them. So they had to take control of it. And that's how I knew that each one of my experiences was actually valid, because every time something like that happened, I realized I was not in control of this.
Every time something would happen, I realized that I was not in control of this. See the problem here? By allowing exterior entities to run the show, you let them control the experience, or give you a certain experience that provides, let's just say, confirmation bias. Seriously, this is it's important to realize that, if we allow these things to come and enter our world, they're going to come, or they're going to take advantage of certain moments in your life to do the bidding at the behest of the system. And it's not good. Not good.
This was actually valid, because every time something like that happened, I realized I was not in control of this. It was always some external force. Oh, cute cat.
That's Freddie Mercury.
Oh, nice. I've always been a Queen fan.
So, okay. So, is there anything else you'd like to include?
The only other thing I can think of, again, this was more of a lucid dream, but I found myself in like a temple that was that had a bunch of platforms on it, and it was hollow in the center, but it had almost like risers on the sides, and I found myself drawn to the light. There was like a light blue platform, and it was radiating light, and I saw green, yellow, white, all the other typical colors that you would think of as spirits, and I tried sitting in a few others, but I only found myself drawn to the light blue one, the sky blue one. And then again, after that, it shifted subtly, except I didn't end up speaking to anybody. I just realized that, wait, this is probably more real than I realize it is. And then after I woke up, I was like, okay. So it looks like I am attracted to the color of light blue when it comes to that. And I also had, the only other thing I can think of is that back in the same year, 2003, I attended a transcendental yoga course, and one of the people that was there actually was able to channel Kuan Yin, who's basically the goddess of compassion. And so she asked me, what did I want to know? And I said, okay, well, have all my experiences been true so far? She says, yes. And I said, well, what is my spirit color? She said, light blue. So it's been confirmed in a few other areas other than just me having that one experience. My guy told me it was.
How convenient. A channeling session, nonetheless. Channeling sessions are, you know, a direct connection with entities of the matrix. And, you know, there's a reason why I don't even go into them here, because there's a lot of people who take advantage of others with that type of practice, or just outright lies. and it's appalling what goes on in the channeling communities. It really is. And to rely on that information, it's a joke. It's a joke. But that doesn't mean that the connection with an entity that he, you know, was, you know, communicated with the channeler for him wasn't real. No, I believe that it very well could be real, but it's providing the confirmation bias that he wants to hear and giving him that feeling that, hey, you know, everything's on the up and up, you know, you're at this level, you know. But again, at the end of the day, strip it all down, and what do you have? You have the pyramid scheme, you know. Hey, you know, you're an old soul, you're evolving, you're this, you know, you're right at that last level. Maybe you'll achieve liberation soon. You know, you'll be able to move on and progress, and then what? Fall into another matrix that's linked to here? Fall into the unknown that you know nothing about? This is why it's never ending unless we finally put our foot down and just say, hey, I'm going to trust myself. I'm not going to worry about outside things, outside entities, outside parasites telling me where I land in this whole thing. Like, where do I fit in all of this? Instead, just say, hey, I'm going to walk the path of sovereignty and liberation. And that's me. And I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to bend to outside influence that, you know, pretends they A, have the upper hand, and B, have my best interests at heart. No. No, 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 no. There just has to come a time where we say, enough. I'm done. You know, we don't owe these things answers. They're not deserving of it whatsoever. And that's the bottom line. They pretend to be the holier than thou connection to God or whoever, the creator. Meanwhile, again, what's going on here doesn't align with what's being presented in the astral. They just do not match up. You have one narrative that, you know, everything's love and light. It's all about growth and soul colors and evolution and karma and judgment. And then on the other end of the spectrum, well, Earth is the living embodiment of the contradiction. Right? I mean, it's we just got to stand up for ourselves.
A few other areas other than just me having that one experience. My guy told me it was. So that's pretty much it.
The students you saw, are they past? Are they still living people? What do you make of seeing them?
What I made of seeing them was that it's all the people that have been and will be in my life. Some that I haven't met yet. Others that, you know, that again, like I've gone to college with. Others that I knew as children, and some that I just simply didn't know at all. You know, I'd say about half of them I didn't know, and the half that I did know was right up front. You know, with the closest to me with the desks.
Good night, Carrie.
I asked.
Yeah, I mean, right there, it's a soul group. I mean, it's so clear that what he's talking about is a soul group. We have the people that we incarnate with here in this lifetime, you know, the core group. But then there's another part of, let's just say, the classroom that, you know, we may not have incarnated with in this lifetime, but have in previous lifetimes and future lifetimes for those that continue to stay stuck here. But, you know, at the end of the day, what are we dealing with? We're dealing with a classroom filled with the lost, those who are still buying into the system. So it feeds off one another. You know, everyone's in the classroom, everyone's connected, everyone's incarnating together and supposedly helping each other. Meanwhile, there is the veil of forgetfulness. Lifetime after lifetime, we come here with our memories wiped, not knowing where we came from, why we are here, where we are going. But if everyone's in that same scenario, then it presents a big problem, because all of us are in that boat together and are subscribing to that belief system. And that's why it's so hard to get out of here, because everything is reinforced on top of one another. And then you add to it the whole propaganda aspect of things. Whew. It's not easy. It's not easy to find yourself here. And that's all on purpose. It's all on purpose. So just some food for thought.
With the closest to me with the desks.
I asked because, you know, like a near-death experience, if you see someone on the other side, they've passed. And so you're having these out-of-body experiences, but you're seeing people from your past that have not passed on. Mm-hmm. I assume they're the age they would be now, and not as children when you knew them, or?
No, they were at their adult ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'd like to throw a citation up there. Even though, yes, the bulk of NDEs will show that the people who go through those experiences will meet with deceased loved ones specifically. Okay, so that is the norm, a high percentage. Okay, but then there's a very, very, very small percentage that will meet with people who are living. It's one of the anomalies in NDE research. Okay, so it's not like it's non-existent, but at the same time, it's so rare that, you know, make of it what you will. It's tough to say, but you know, he had his out-of-body experience and talks about entering the classroom, and and everything lines up with the past life regression and life between lives research and things like that. You know, and the teacher just so happens to be his guide. I mean, it's jam-packed.
I assume they're the age they would be now, and not as children when you knew them, or?
No, they were at their adult ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
what do you make of that?
To be honest, I'm not really sure what to make of that. I just assumed that it was, you know, like, so there was about 40 people there. And so I just assumed that it was all the people that were involved with my life in some way, shape, or form. People that I have, interacted with in the past. And so, you know,
were these people that had an impact on you, do you think, in some way? Or just maybe picking up on your memories and your sleep? I don't know, you know?
Well, I would, there's no reason for me to think of any of these people at all, because I haven't had contact with them in like 20 years. So actually, I was actually surprised to see half of them there, you know? So yeah, if any of them had passed, I didn't know it, because like I said, I recognized a lot of them, but not but the ones I saw that I knew of were still living because they'd be about my age now. So
be interesting to kind of make a list of their names and just kind of check, see, are they still living or?
Right.
Just curiosity.
Yeah. And that's pretty much about it.
Is that the one time, was it, you said 2009, is that the only time you saw like a Jesus and God representative?
Yes. That was the only time I saw them. And like I said, I felt, well, I guess I didn't say this yet, but I felt that Jesus was actually God in the form of a concept that I would be comfortable with at the time, because I was actually raised a Catholic. And my mom drilled it into me whether I liked it or not as a kid. So I suspect he was projecting the form of a concept that I would be comfortable with.
There you go. There's the belief system narrative data point, not narrative, but data point that pops up time and time again in NDE research, that, the belief and many other topics, like again, I know I'm bringing up a lot of the same stuff, but there's all this crossover and it has to be addressed because, everyone should be doing their own research on this topic and, diving into experiencer data and, building up over time those familiar data points. So the one, just had a mind blank. I'm sorry. I have to rewind. Sorry. Wow.
I felt, well, I guess I didn't say this yet, but I felt that Jesus was actually God in the form of a concept that I would be comfortable with at the time.
Okay, so yes, yeah. The belief-based system experience that is given. We see it in OBEs, we see it in NDEs, we see it in regressions, life between lives that can recall previous belief systems, and then the experience kind of rolling itself out and being molded and crafted based on that previous lifetime, or even the current lifetime if they're going back and regressing into this current incarnation. And then you have, of course, the breakthrough trip reports, okay, where people will be able to have a belief-based system-driven experience. So really, really important stuff, because it all crosses over. Even though these topics are independent one another, they still hold a lot of value in the research for us to prove the Matrix reincarnation soul trap.
Because I was actually raised a Catholic, and my mom drilled it into me whether I liked it or not as a kid. So I suspect he was projecting the form of a concept that I would be comfortable with.
How did you go from raised Catholic to atheist, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, yeah. Well, basically, I never really believed it. Like I said, she drilled it into my head as a kid, and I just thought it was wishful thinking on her part. She would drag me to church every now and again, but that even faded by the wayside. And, we eventually would just do midnight mass on Christmas. But, and even then, half the time, we wouldn't even do that. And after a while, after about 15, 20 years, I just realized, I don't see anything supernatural. I only see, and feel what's in front of me. There's no man in the sky. It's all a bunch of BS. There's nothing after death. And then, of course, I held that belief right up until I was 33, and I had the experience. So
it's funny because your dreams are taking you to a place where they are right in front of you.
Interesting how 33 was the age, right? Just saying.
And then, of course, I held that belief right up until I was 33, and I had the experience. So
it's funny because your dreams are taking you to a place where they are right in front of you, or someone is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
and I'd love to get back to them. Of course, I'd be begging to stay if I ever did. So
what's that?
I'd love to get back to them. I'd be begging to stay if I ever, the second I see them again, I'm going to beg them to let me stay, because
I'm going to beg to stay. Again, allowing some outside entity to decide your fate. to manipulate your fate, all because there is this illusion going on that there's this hierarchy that you have to answer for, that you're just a measly little soul sitting at the bottom of the multiverse, and well, you've got to answer to us. What about the rest of what's going on out there? Huh? Seriously, think about, I mean, really, are we this kind of veiled that we can't think that there are other realms out there that may not be linked to this system, and that maybe this place doesn't have our best interests at heart, and its adjacent and connected systems don't have our best interests at heart? What's wrong with asking that question? Just think about the complexity of what just happens here. Then think about the complexity of the astral realm, regardless of our limited knowledge on it. And it's limited, but we do get glimpses, all right? And then think about, like, what's going on outside of there. What's going on outside of this matrix that we know nothing about because of the veil of forgetfulness? Lifetime after lifetime, coming here, not knowing where we came from, why we were here, where we were going. I mean, the memory wipe, just the fact that we're memory wiped, it's that says everything. It says that we are being left in the dark about not just ourselves, but this whole system. So think outside the box. That's all. Just say, hey, oh my God, if it's, if it's a multiverse, which it is, yeah, granted, we don't have knowledge exactly as to how, what's going on and all the different types of realms that we can go and explore and have fun in and experience something different for once, and not be like stuck in this low vibrational experience and think that this is it. This is what it is. No. I refuse to believe that. And I'm not going to let anything outside of here dictate my future, my well-being, my yearning to explore. But at the same time, I'm not ever by any circumstances going to give not even 0.0001% of myself in exchange for an experience like this again. Never. We've all learned the lesson the hard way. And we don't know what's going on outside of here. There are probably plenty of realms that we can explore and have fun in and just have a unique experience in, that don't require us to hand over our entire essence or large portions of it to the point where we forget. Really? Yeah, and I'm the crazy one. We're the crazy ones for asking this question and putting it out there. It's insanity. And it's time that we just stood up for ourselves and say, enough. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it. I mean, just come on. This is not what this whole existence is all about, that our existence is all about. This is not the end of the line. No way, no how. We deserve better. Every single one of us out there deserves better. This was a lesson. It really was. Now, it's not a school. The only part of the school aspect to this place is that you got to learn to rediscover yourself, and that you need to learn about sovereignty and liberation and how powerful you are as a being, so that the time of natural death, you can apply those things to protect yourself. And finally, escape this thing with true liberation, not fake, tug you by the ear, carrot and stick, Buddhism, Hinduism, Gnosticism, where they're just trying to drag you along, give you little bits and pieces of this stuff, give you little bits and pieces of truth, and then yank it away because it's part of the mainstream. It's part of the matrix construct. You know why those things are put in place? Because they know damn well people like us are going to come along and ask questions and not be content or satisfied with those answers provided by the system. Because something deep within us, something burning within us, knows something's wrong here, knows something's not right. And the only way they get the upper hand is because of the memory wipe, because of the physical vessel that we're in, because of the construct that they run. What is wrong with us asking questions? What is wrong with us standing up for ourselves? Nothing. And for anyone who has a problem with that, take a hike. Take a hike. If you're not open-minded enough to at least entertain some of this stuff and ask questions, there's no reason in being here. Fine, you can go turn on your everyday religion and get answers. They're going to be fake answers, they're going to be manufactured answers, but they're going to be answers that'll, make you feel warm inside and give you comfort and not allow yourself to rediscover you. See where the disconnect is? We deserve better. And we know there's way more to this existence, to our true essence, our existence in general, than this place, than this matrix, and the astral realm matrix, the very low vibrational, low hanging fruit garbage that exists out there. All right? There's a lot more out there. So, please, even though, I say, hey, create your own void-like realm with your intention when you leave here. And then some people say, this doesn't sound good to hang out in a void, a dark void. Doesn't seem fun. I'm not saying we got to hang out there forever. All I'm saying is just give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. That's what we all need. And, even though time doesn't exist out there, I'm relaying it the best way I can because of the terminology that we have. Allow yourself that freedom in an environment where you're not distracted by all sorts of crazy things. And then once you kind of rediscover yourself, you have the memories flooding back, you realize your strengths, your weaknesses as a creator being, then sure, let's go see what the hell's going on in the multiverse. But if I roll up to some other realm and it says, hey, you want to come behind this door and check this place out? Yeah, it's appealing, all right. But you've got to give 0.0001% of yourself away. Heck no. There is nothing that will be given up. Nothing. Zero. They don't deserve. Doesn't matter. That would be a realm that I would choose to not involve myself with. Okay, next. Again, we're in this. Think about this construct. Think about the astral. Think about everything that we've learned, everything that we've researched over the amount of time, over the years to get to this point. And if this is really the end of the line, it's sad. It's sad. And we all know that's not the case. Come on. We got to be honest with each other. This is not the end of the road. This is not the final frontier. We've got this. We really do. So that's my pep talk for the night.
Of course, I'd be begging to stay if I ever did. So,
What's that?
I mean, I'd love to get back to them. I'd be begging to stay if I ever, the second I see them again, I'm going to beg them to let me stay. because I have no love of earth.
Have you been able to tell your mother about any of this?
No, my mom died back in 2011. But not for the, yeah. And you know what? I didn't really want to tell her, even in 2003 when this happened, because to be honest, she was so closed-minded, and even my father was so closed-minded about it that, you know, not that she would think that I'd be possessed by the devil or anything because of it, but she would certainly not believe it. So there's no point in any wasting any breath on it.
It wasn't a traditional thought in the Catholic Church to experience that.
Oh yeah, they swear you were damned or going to hell or something. So, you know.
That's by demons. I don't know.
Yeah. Ridiculous talk, you know. Yeah.
I live in Southeast Ohio, so when I first started coming out about my NDE, that was my feelings, that people would think I was possessed by demons, trying to be a false prophet, just plain out liar or crazy or any of those things they come up with to reject what you're saying. So I didn't tell anybody for the longest time. You're really the only person I've told is Glenn. So, you know, and she accepted it at face value without, you know, judgment or recriminations or anything like that. So that was actually very nice. That is nice. Yeah.
Because I know so many people, you know, they try to tell their spouses and it's a disaster, you know.
Yeah. Well, when people live with you, they married to you, they know you. And so even though they may not believe what and have ever heard anything like what you're saying, they know you and know when you're telling the truth. So I know that you just don't go around daily basis making up stupid crap.
Exactly.
They know you haven't been in a mental institution.
Yeah, I know. And so, so I other than telling her, you know, of course I posted it on NDERF.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that, just, you know, Sharon, you, and I did try to tell another friend of mine, but he seemed skeptical at the very best. So I figured, just going to let that one lie with him.
Yeah. And see, a crazy person wouldn't do that. A crazy person wouldn't stop and think, what did they think of me? They think I'm crazy. I'm going to quit talking. I'm only going to tell this one person. Crazy people don't do that.
No, not at all.
They're just out here being crazy all the time when they're off of medication or something.
Anything. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and they don't care what the outcome is. So
right. They're not seeing things from other people's perspective and guarding their safety, etc.
Right.
Their reputation. I mean, because they can't function. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I understand that process of who do I tell, how much do I tell, when do I tell. I mean, because it's same as with NDEs. I mean, OBEs. They're all spiritual experiences that they don't fade. They mean a lot to us.
Yes.
And keep them in.
Dream that I had. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying that one that the experience back in 2003, the dream that I was dumped into after the fact, I couldn't tell you the first thing about. But the actual experience itself, there's not one detail I don't remember to this day.
Yeah.
So.
And see, there's signs like that for our own sanity, at least, you know, to say, well, let's see, this didn't fade. I'm not crazy during the day. These just happen during the night. I mean, these little checklists of sanity here to keep ourselves in line. Do you think you'll continue telling your experience, or you think you might write a book or anything?
Well, you know, I did talk to Sharon about writing a book at one point. I even wrote an outline, just more like bullet points than anything else. And I didn't realize how many experiences I really have had until I actually wrote them down and looked at them. I was like, oh, wow. You know, but yeah, I've kind of got, like I said, bullet points and everything else. But to be honest, I don't know. You know, I've debated. I've kicked it back and forth.
Maybe the nights you have insomnia.
Yeah, I mean, I sat down and I put up, Microsoft Word, and then I was staring at the keyboard with writer's block for about an hour before I finally said, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, maybe ask B to help.
Yeah, I think I will, because I needed direction as to where to go, what to do, you know, how to actually start it, how to word it. I mean, I consider myself a fairly good writer, but, you know, it doesn't mean I can't use help. So.
Do you know what the block is? Do you think the block is maybe, do I want to say this, or do I want to put it out there? What it is?
Well, that's actually a little of both, about probably half of both. You know, nervous about the idea of what people would think of it. You know, most people are going to label me as crazy. The other half are going to be like, well, yeah, I guess it could have happened. But, you know, I saw some of the reviews when Sharon's book was released. I actually had to post a rebuttal to a negative comment that was made, you know, saying, hey, don't judge her. You know, you didn't have this experience she did. Why do you think it wouldn't be real, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. She calls me crying when she gets those.
Does she? Oh.
Yeah. And I'm like, you're Sharon freaking Milliman, you know?
Yeah,
she's
exactly.
very popular. People just love her. She is nice to everybody. And you're going to get a jab now and then. Me, I get them all day, every day. So, I mean, I really can't sit and hold your hand while you cry too long, because this is the life of Peggy. So
Yeah.
welcome to it, Sharon.
It's like I got my own problems. Can't deal with yours.
Well, I mean,
Oh, you know, just let's just get this one on the table with who they're talking about. Okay. Sharon. Okay, I have played a couple of clips and some compilations with her, but I've also watched some other videos. Some other things she's been associated with. And it seems like, yeah, maybe she had her NDE, okay? I'm not discounting the NDE portion, but some people, I'm not saying this is in Sharon's case, but some people kind of branch off and go like add on to their experience, or are connected with this one and that one, and turn it into a business, okay? And their story evolves, their experience evolves, or maybe they're like, I mean, there's a person on YouTube who's like a 6-time NDEer, okay? And yeah, there are people who have multiple NDEs, no doubt. They absolutely exist. If you're someone who has a traumatic incident, I don't believe in accidents, but say you have a traumatic incident in life and you're on the verge of death multiple times, yeah, you can have multiple NDEs. Or you can have multiple NDEs through multiple traumatic incidents over the course of your life. Okay? But, you know, some of the things that are claimed by Sharon are a bit much. I think, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's been a while since I looked at her stuff, but I think she's a 2-time NDEer or 4-time, something like that. But excuse me if I'm wrong. I may be completely wrong about the whole thing with how many times she's had one. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of questionable things going on. And she also surrounds herself with questionable people. The 6-time NDEer is one of them. And, hey, it's very hard to sit up here and say certain things about certain people unless you really have the goods on them. And many are just taken for a ride, okay? They may have an NDE, but still continue to have a connection with these entities as a way to continue to prop up the matrix itself, okay? There's a big reason for some of these people to be out there, and it goes way further than just them. There's a connection there who they allow to come through and do the bidding of the system through them. Through things like channeling. That's one of them. Okay. Hey, I got the the direct line to Jesus. I got the direct line to aliens and this and that, you know, and then, you know, they just kind of weave in and out of different topics and, you know, put their name out there. And, you know, after a while, it gets a little ridiculous. And the claims get bigger and bigger and bigger. The experience sometimes that they, you know, the base experience. That's why, like, if you're looking at NDEs, try to go back to the root. Where is the testimony of the first time they shared their story? Look them up by year. Look, if they're an author, look at their books. And then, you know, you can usually get a few pages in there for free or download the book for free sometimes and get an idea. Hey, when did the NDE happen? Okay, well, you know, so-and-so had an NDE in 1995. You know, what's the, you know, put the person's name in there and put 1995. Put the person's name in there and 1996 and 97 and 98 and keep going through there at least until you can find the time that they initially gave their statement on their experience. And that's what you should go off of. Now, there are people who have these experiences who do remember odd details out of nowhere later in life, and they're usually nothing massive. Sometimes they're interesting, don't get me wrong, but they're nothing massive where you can kind of piece it together and say, well, maybe there's an agenda there, okay? Because that does happen. But on the flip side, you have the opportunists. So, you know, but remember, we're talking about one person, one case at a time. Go through one case, move on to the next. One case, move on to the next. Just keep going. You know, there's no reason to be hanging around NDEers and trying to do the, you know, debunk this, debunk that. No, just move on to the next experience, because it's all about the, you know, as Dan says, the totality of evidence. That's what it's all about. Building it up over time and going through as many as you can and all the different topics and subtopics that link to show the soul trap. So, yeah. Thank you. Let's move on.
And she's so tenderhearted.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, I found that out.
Yeah. And I was too, but I mean, when you get kicked around so much, you've got to
really,
get a thicker skin.
Yeah, it really hard.
Yeah, but you know why that happens is because she puts herself in that situation. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean or nasty, but you know, sometimes people go a little too far and they get called out. That's it. And they also need allies. They need people that are going to stick with them no matter what. And some people just say, hey, you know, who am I to judge your experience? And that's usually is the case. But when certain things start to compound on one another, and that there's a financial motive behind it, or extravagant claims that continue to be popped out over and over, year after year, excuse my blah. You know, when those things happen, you have a right to be suspect. You have a right to be questioned. And, you know, there aren't many out there, but there's enough. And Sharon is one of them. And what's wrong with questioning things? What's wrong with saying, hey, you know, maybe this is a little too much, or maybe this is, you know, a little more than, you know, what was initially reported. Or maybe you're trying to sell books here, or sell this here, or that there. You know, you're heading, you know, key speakers at conferences and, you know, getting your travel paid for, getting a free vacation out of it. You know, I'm sorry, but these are things that do need to be taken into account. But again, end of the day, it's one case out of many. You know, go through it, dissect it, move on. That's the best way to handle these things.
And I was too, but I mean, when you get kicked around so much, you've got to really get a thicker skin.
Yeah, it really hardens your heart a little bit, you know. And I hate
you get jaded
because I don't like being jaded like that. I like to trust people until they give me a reason to not trust them.
Yeah, right. But I mean, but when you're on Facebook, you're on social media a lot, like I am. Yeah. I mean, bam, out of the blue, here's you got one person. Oh, Peggy, I just love your story and blah blah blah, and then over here you got you're whatever. Yeah.
You're so full of crap. You know.
Yeah, I love it when people say you think you're this, you think. I was like, I don't even know what I think most of the time. How are you in my head what I think?
Oh, that's funny.
But anyway, I really appreciate you having the courage to come on.
Yeah, I didn't freeze.
Yeah, and you're my first out-of-body experience, and I think I've got another one scheduled. I think I got one scheduled tomorrow, or I got one scheduled Monday, but one of them hasn't had near-death experience either. Her, she's angels and stuff. So I mean, we all get what we're supposed to get.
Yeah, essentially, you know, we all get what helps us grow spiritually at that point.
Yeah. Because what will work for me wouldn't work for you, vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think of them as Christmas gifts, you know, like Jesus in front of the tree and passing out all these gifts to kids. And some people think, well, this is all I got. I didn't give her much.
Well, tell them to pass one.
Man, some kids don't get anything. Some kids don't get anything. Come from abused families, neglectful families. Meanwhile, their friends are getting things. You know, these are just material things, but it's it's just not a perfect world. It can't be summed up that easily. I'm sorry.
Think, well, this is all I got. I didn't give her much.
Well, tell them to pass one out to me too.
And that's the way I was when I, with my NDE, I thought, was mine an NDE? Because I hear these stories, they're so elaborate and they saw this stuff, and mine was just this really personal thing. And that's the first time I told mine was on NDERF.
Right.
And just typed it out, and I thought, it's mine. I didn't care that it wasn't all that, it was mine. Just like your thing, it's yours. Right. And I've had several people say, well, I don't want to tell my NDE because there wasn't that much to it. And I thought, well, you haven't started opening it yet. You haven't started talking about it and looking at all the details, because when you do, it's like you keep opening up. And then when you come on like this, and I think, and you tell it, like public, it takes on a whole different light. Like you might process things you didn't see before, make connections before. Right. So, anyway, I'm the type of person who likes to pick things apart and look at every little aspect.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you get into the minutia. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got comments. It's like, well, that lady show.
Okay, so that's going to wrap things up as far as the experience goes. And let me just check. We got some questions. We'll get to those. Let me take a look here. Let me see here. I just want to give a big thank you to Jimmy for helping out tonight. As always, much appreciated, brother. And Jimmy has a YouTube channel. You can check that out if you'd like. Jimmy will pop that up in the chat. He's trying to build his sub count. And yeah, please consider giving him a sub, heading on over there, maybe a few likes, and to try and help him build his own thing. I know he does a lot of gaming over there, but he also does plan to do down the road some spiritual discussions, maybe, or maybe some art. So, what you see there now may change down the road, or there'll be a little mix of things. And he does a lot to help things behind the scenes and during the live streams, and I appreciate him greatly. So big shout out to Jimmy, as always, brother. Thank you. All right, so let's see. Let's get to the questions here. Acta non verba says, I'm curious why some NDE folks report forward-facing vision like we have in our meat suits, but others report 360-degree vision. Why do you think different people get different perception? That's a hell of a question. It's a great question. I really can't answer it. I don't know what the reason is. I know it seems the bulk have something like akin to a 360-degree vision experience, but you know, I really can't answer that. There's no way to know. Maybe there is a less of this is just an opinion. I can't say for certain, but maybe there is a lack of, or okay, maybe there's a lacking connection to the body from those who experience 360-degree vision versus those who may have like our human perception of vision that are maybe more grounded to the body. That's the best thing I could really say on that. I'd like to ask Dan and Wayne that. So Dan, if you're Dan, if you're listening to the replay at some point, if you can maybe leave a comment on your thoughts on that, that would be great. I'd be curious to see, and I will definitely ask Wayne that question and see what he thinks. Thank you for the question. That's a good one. Okay. Let's see. Blue says, what happens when people have done crimes against humanity? Well, here's the thing. I've talked about this before. Let's put it this way. Those who do acts like that are most likely not going to be the type of people who go within and question things. Now, can there be exceptions? Of course. And they may very well do a lot of bad things in this lifetime, but maybe reach a certain tipping point where they grow spiritually and figure out their power, their true essence, their connection, and that the whole sovereignty and liberation aspect of things. And theoretically, they can escape, just like all of us at the time of natural death. So, you know, I know we don't like to really go down that road and feel that if anyone's deserving, it's those who have violated and done nasty things against others. But if they do figure out what's going on here, I don't think it's any different. I don't. But really, when you boil it down, they're not the types of people who are asking the big questions and working on themselves. They're more consumed about their own narcissistic needs, their predatory needs, and working off of that. So, yeah. But at the end of the day, it breaks my heart to even say this, but if they do figure it out, they can liberate themselves. But again, don't hold too much weight into that, because they will they're just not going to be going down these avenues and asking the big questions. And if they are out there, they're very far and few between. If anything, they're going to be promoted by the Matrix for their misdeeds and parasitic behavior. Abstract Angel Artist, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Says, any ideas on ways to help our loved ones that passed and were most likely reincarnated again and in new bodies here again? unfortunately, I don't think I can really ever provide an answer to that. The only thing I can really say that you can try is if you can connect with them in some way, or at least put it out there telepathically through your abilities, say, you know, hey, whoever, you know, don't go to the light, you know, do some research, do some digging, you know, and you can, I mean, you never know. Maybe they can be halfway across the world and somehow get the message because you're in the same soul group. Who knows? Can't hurt to try and put it out there. That's like one of the toughest things to deal with for many of us, is those who we loved and cared about who have already passed away, and we don't want to see them having to deal with another reincarnation. But the chances are pretty high for most people out there, most true essence beings out there. But, you know, can't hurt to send that frequency out, right? What is it going to do? Take up a little bit of your time, and, you know, it's coming from authenticity, intention. Throw it out there and you never know, right? Okay, let's see. I think we got one more. Seeking Truth. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Says FC, you should really, that's right. FC, you should really check out Dennis Bullock's NDE. It would be interesting if you did an analysis on it. All right. I put that message aside. Let me save that. All right. I also wanted to mention Vince's channel. He's a good friend of the channel and does some great music. Let me pop this up. So yeah, his channel's out there, and swing by, give him a sub, a bell, and he's so talented. Does a lot of truth-driven pieces, and he's been around a while. Love him like a brother, and always good to have you out there, my friend. So check out Vince's channel. Check out Jimmy's channel if you don't mind too. Send him a little love. And yeah, absolutely. He's got amazing music, Michael, for sure. For sure. All right. So I did take a poll because I was curious. The question was, we have 45 votes total. How did you find this channel? First option was word of mouth. That's 61%. And then YouTube recommended is 37%, and 2% is Discord. That blows me away. I would never have expected 36% from the YouTube recommended section. That's crazy. Because seriously, over the past, since I've really been doing this, not many people say YouTube recommended the channel, so that's great. So I want to thank each and every one of you out there, because seriously, the likes, the comments, the shares, you know, coming around during the live streams, all those things help to get the message out there and popped in the algorithm. So thank you so much. That's cool. Way more than I expected. So, and I want to welcome anyone who's new, who may have just come along and found the channel. I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, or it could maybe seem a little lost in the beginning because there's just so much here. But I promise you, if you just hang in there and stick with the content, check out the Matrix Reincarnation Soul Trap playlist. The interviews with Wayne Bush, that interview series can really, it's long, but it's a encapsulated and condensed, surprisingly condensed version of the Soul Trap, where we dove really deep into the topic. And then there's also the interviews with Dan from Overwatch and various other things like the Michael Newton cover-to-cover commentaries of both books. And then there's early childhood development and the heaven and hell deception and on and on and on. There's a lot of stuff here on the channel that can help you kind of give you a jump start and get through things. And also don't forget to check out Wayne's website at trickedbythelight.com and Dan's channel at overwatchproject.com, Overwatch Project on Odyssey, and then Overwatch channel here on YouTube. And we generally do live streams here every weekend. Just to give a heads up to everyone here, there will be no Sunday show this weekend. There'll be no Sunday show next weekend. There should be a show either the 25th, 26th, or 27th. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not exactly sure what day yet. And then there will be a Last Timers Club monthly members live stream on the 28th, which is a Saturday, May 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for level 2 and 3 supporters. And yeah, and oh, I forgot to mention, Dan is actually coming on Friday, so that will clear that up. So that'll be the 27th. Completely forgot about that. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be meeting on Friday the 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is subject to change, but looking forward to speaking with Dan again. And then I also look forward to having Wayne back on the channel sometime soon. And also want to do a panel with Wayne, Dan, and myself together, just kind of covering maybe some certain topics or taking some questions from some of you and just shooting the breeze about the Soul Trap. All right. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate each and every one of you. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot one more thing. Actually, a few more things. I do have 2 YouTube backup channels. So if you're new here or haven't subscribed to them yet, I just want to let you know I did have to delete a number of older videos that are not related to the Soul Trap because of I got hit by YouTube on a previous video where I talked about the symbolism in relation to a topic that's been rampant in the headlines for many years. So you can still find that video over on Odyssey, but I also have started deleting other videos. Unfortunately, it's just, again, the whole Soul Trap thing is bigger than any one of us, and having this platform available is extremely important. Extremely important. Like, I don't agree with a lot of what goes on, but at the same time, this is where people come. You know, I tried on other sites. Nobody comes. Barely anyone comes. So, you know, it's all about getting the word out. That's what it's all about. I also have a Twitter, a Twitch where once in a while I'll play video games, and an Instagram I have as well where I do platform exclusive videos. There's 3 up there now you can check out. And I also have a D Live, which kind of just sits there, and I do plan sometime down the road to do exclusive live streams every once in a while over there. So if you have a D Live account, feel free to check the description tab for that. And if you are interested in joining the YouTube channel memberships, You can check the description tab for that, or click the join button and see the different tiers. Levels 2 and 3 include monthly members live stream, as well as access to a backlog library of older videos that were part of the monthly member streams. And then there's also stream elements if you ever wish to donate off of YouTube. YouTube does take 30%, and stream elements takes 3%. So again, all information pertaining to the Soul Trap will always be free. Anything that's important will never, ever cost a dime. But if you're in a position you want to throw a few bucks towards the channel, thank you. But please don't ever feel any obligation. It just is what it is. We're all going through tough times right now, and we got to do what we got to do. So I want everyone to make sure to know that, hey, only do what you can do, or don't do anything at all. Because at the end of the day, it's all about spreading the word. That's all that matters. We got to do what we got to do. All right, my friends. Much love. Blessings to you, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next week.